Shalom. First, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakwadash, double unto the apostles, the elders, the great millstone. Peace and blessing to the students of Yah, keep pushing this truth out of the world. Shalom, keep pushing. Okay, this article, it says Russia's war on Ukraine has some Christians wondering, is this the end of the world? The war in Ukraine has reunited beliefs among some conservative evangelicals that Russia could help fulfill biblical prophecies about end of the world. The evangelicals, particularly charismatic Christians who focus on end times theories, have long believed that Russia has a special role to play in the end times and are sharing new theories about why the invasion of Ukraine might be part of God's plan. Earlier this month, California megachurch Pastor Greg Laurie, who was part of the President Donald Trump's inner circle of pastor advisors, told his followers he saw a prophetic significance to what is happening in Ukraine, and Christian Broadcasting Network founder Pat Robertson suggested Russian President Vladimir was compelled by God to attack Ukraine. Since then, people who engage in prophecy have been given their own biblical interpretations to global events, particularly around Russia's role in triggering the end of the world. A Rapture index that tracks what it sees as end times activity recently increased its index to 187 out of 200. The index hit 182 after September 11, 2001. In its most recent update, it notes climate change, the coronavirus, and the rise of oil prices as factors for recent changes. Conservative Christians have long looked at world events and pointed to biblical references as signs that what is happening in the world could fulfill biblical prophecy, as this time is no different, said Michael Brown, host of the Charlotte-based Christian radio show, The Line of Fire. When you have Christians who already think about how we're living in the last days and they see the continual moral decline of America, they see the church being marginalized. It doesn't take much to tip the scales, he said. Whenever Russia gets involved, it's like, here it is. It's the final conflict. Close. We getting there though. We definitely getting there though. We definitely in the end of the end phase of this place known as America to go down. And all this Edomite system all over the world. Europe. They going down. The Edomites in Australia going down. This whole Roman, new Roman Empire is getting ready to go down. Rome reincarnated. Some evangelicals once believed that Mikhail Gorbachev, the former leader of the Soviet Union, was the Antichrist, in part which he had a birthmark on his forehead that conjured up concerns that it could be the mark of the beast, a biblical sign for Satan in the end times. And I let you show you the madness of these Christians. They bugged out. Talking about a birthmark is the MOTB. In that case, he should have been making everybody get a birthmark like that on his face. They got to show who's still listening to these wacky tacky, these nut job bug out Christians. Perhaps Putin is an antichrist of our current time. No, all of y'all are antichrist. If you're against this truth, this gospel that the man of the Lord is preaching, primarily from the man of GMS, if you're against this, you're against, that whoever put the nation of Israel in slavery is going to go into slavery. If you're not with a so-called black man being the Most High Son, you against John 3:16, broken down the correct way. If you're against that, you're antichrist. All of y'all are antichrist. Everybody who comes against this truth. It says perhaps Putin is the antichrist of our current time, said Jeff Kinley, who writes on biblical prophecy and lives in Harrison, Arkansas, in a recent interview with the Christian Broadcasting Network. However, Brown said he thinks Putin is unlike the Antichrist because most of the world appears hostile to Putin, while the Antichrist described in the Bible will bring the whole world under his sway. I found that white evangelical Christians were just as negative toward Russia and supportive of sanctions as Americans overall. Among white evangelicals, 47% said Russia is an enemy of the United States, and another 33% said it's unfriendly. Similarly, 28% supported sanctions, and 51% said they would support them if energy prices went up. White evangelicals were also much likely to say they disapprove. It should say Edomite evangelicals were also much likely to say they disapprove of the way President Biden has handled the situation with Ukraine, 75%, than the rest of the Americans, 47%. Brown said he understands why recent global events, including the pandemic, seem to disturb some conservative evangelicals, meaning he said they are concerned about vaccine mandates and the World Health Organization as possible preparation for one world government or one international leader who makes decisions for the globe. Yeah, the NWO is the ball is rolling. The reset is, right on the doorstep. So hey, it's a pretty lengthy article. You can get into it if you want. But these Christians, they've been wrong time and time after again. But they on to something this time. We definitely in the end of times here. Biden just came out with the executive order on digital currencies. The MOTB is here. World War III is shaping up. Hyperinflation shaping up. The economy collapse is shaping up. So hey, we definitely in those times. The pestilences are here. Famines beginning. So hey, finally they getting it right. These so-called evangelical conservative Christians. Who some of those are, Jake? Just because they have, leprous red skin, some of those are are Israelites. Depending on what tribe they from. But just because they have so-called white skin doesn't mean they're all Edomites. This is not a race, type of deal here. This is not a race-based religion. This is the truth. So you're going to have so-called Chinese that are Israelites. You're going to have so-called Arabs, who think they're Arabs, but they really Israelites. They have a spirit of an Israelite. They father go back to, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They forefathers. But hey, they thinking this is the end time. But yeah, it is. It is the end. The world is gonna come to an end, and that world that's coming into the end is Esau's end, the so-called white man. He's been ruling, since the Renaissance. He had a good run. So he's the he's like the poster child of unrighteousness. We about to see what righteousness looks like, all over the world once this man goes down. We're gonna get some precepts here, man. We're gonna go to second Esdras 6. And we're gonna get on straight to the point. And it says, second Esdras 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and beginning of it that followeth? Verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Jacob, pretty much described as a so-called Negro, and Esau, the so-called white man. two different nations. They came out the same womb, but they two different nations. And it says, verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So yeah, the so-called white man is the end of the world. And Jacob, so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, we are the beginning, and it's gonna be, our world's gonna be forever. It's gonna be Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah's world, and we're gonna be joint heirs with Yahweh Shah, and we're gonna rule forever. We're gonna always push the vibration of righteousness. We're gonna fulfill the law. The scriptures say the law abideth forever. So we always gonna be following the law, statute, commandments, because the Most High is going to put it in our inward parts to keep the law, statute, commandments, so we never go off. So no nation can ever take us down again, because that's how we was able to get taken down, Salakia. Is with sin. We won't be able to sin no more. So we're gonna definitely be able to rule. When Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, gets knocked down out of power, we definitely gonna be able to, and see. We're gonna be able to see eons and eons of time. We're never gonna die. It's never gonna be an end of Jacob's world anymore. Jacob's gonna be here and there forever. Every time you look around, you're gonna see Jake. So hey, these Christians, they are correct. There is an end, but there's an end to the so-called white race who's ruling this world right now. Scriptures say the earth is given the hands to the wicked. Roughly paraphrasing, and it says the earth abideth forever. So the earth itself won't be destroyed, but there will be a man who will be destroyed and knocking down out of power eventually. He'll eventually be destroyed, but he's going to be taken out of power here real soon. So what you need to know is that, hey, yeah, we are in those times where the nukes getting ready to go off, cyber attacks, World War III, all that's coming up, and we're in the midst of all that. But I just want to get into this article, and I pray that this video was edifying to the sense of Yaki, man. Keep pushing. Shalom.